Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order our Lucan Biddulph council meeting for Tuesday, February 4th at 6 p.m. I'm going to pass it over to our CAO for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I would like to acknowledge that we are allies of Indigenous peoples. The Township of Lucan Biddulph is located on the treaty and traditional territory and ancestral lands of many Indigenous peoples and is covered by several Upper Canada treaties. We recognize and celebrate the contributions of Indigenous communities in our shared cultural heritage. Lucan Biddulph is now home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples and communities that have a unique relationship with the land and its resources and continue to shape the history and economy of the township. We recognize the unique role Indigenous communities have in the development of our communities. The contribution from Indigenous communities ensure the sharing of unique perspectives and traditional knowledge. The township recognizes the importance of consulting with our Indigenous neighbors and communities in an effort to build constructive, cooperative relationships through meaningful engagement and to inform our decision-making and build partnerships. We acknowledge historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect.
Thank you, Ron. We do not have any additions to the agenda, any disclosure of pecuniary interest or nature thereof. Seeing none, I do not have any announcements today. We have no closed session. We do have a public meeting on a drainage. I do have a motion here that the drainage consideration meeting to review the engineer's report for the Gowdy Drain 2024 be opened at 6:02. If I get someone to move and second that, moved by Councillor Hodgson, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? And that's carried. Just to let everybody know how this will work. We're going to get an overview of the work required by Mike DeVos. Then I'll be asking if there is any questions of any of the landowners present. If there is any questions, they can come up and ask them. I'd like you to state your name and address if you do, and then I'll be asking questions of members of council, and then we'll form a decision from that. So, Mike, if I could pass it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening. The report for the Gowdy Drain was prepared in accordance with sections 78 and section 4 of the Drainage Act. Section 78 is for repair and improvement to an existing municipal drain, and section 4 is for the creation of new drains. There was a petition to extend the drain at the very upper end across Fallon Line. That was a private crossing previously, so there is a pipe. It just wasn't part of a municipal drain. There is improvement to the existing drain for its entire length, and also the creation of a new branch, we call branch A in the Dewan property, to the east of the main drain, and that would actually be incorporating a pipe that was relatively recently installed and making it municipal for future maintenance purposes. So we are showing that that is now part of the Gowdy Drain. There is an older branch in the O property that was existing municipal, and it was asked to abandon it. It's not really serving a purpose for the landowners anymore, and so that is going to be abandoned and become a private pipe for future maintenance. The drain itself, the old drain, will be destroyed in places, will be twinned in the bottom end where the existing drain is large enough to make some proper use of it, but the smaller portions would be destroyed or abandoned. For a portion of the drain, there's an older clay tile, even older than the original 1976 drain. The last engineer's report for the Gowdy Drain was 1976. In certain places, we found an older tile, and so we'd be destroying the oldest tile and abandoning the 1976 for a certain portion. We will be replacing catch basins, installing new catch basins along the way, and improving the capacity of the drain and depth of the drain for today's standards. The pipe sizes will start at 10-inch pipe at the top end and up to 27-inch at the bottom end. And at that point, I'd stop and open up to questions.
Thank you, Mike. So I will ask if there's any questions of any of the landowners out there. Seeing none. Questions from any members of council? Straightforward. I think everyone's Mike, you did a great job. Yeah, it's fabulous. Okay, well, I've got a recommended motion that the drainage report for the Gaudy Drain 2024 as prepared by Spreet and Associates dated October 31st be received and adapted, and that the first sitting of the quarter revision on behalf of the Gaudy Drain 2024 be scheduled for March 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah, 6 p.m. And then the second motion there, right? Recommended motion. Yeah, first and second that, yeah. First and second. Mover, Councillor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Westman. All in favor? That's carried. And then the second recommended motion that the drainage, that the drainage consideration meeting be closed at 6:05 and council reconvene its regular meeting. Mover seconder, moved by Councillor Reagan, seconded by Councillor Hodgins. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We have a full meeting ahead if you want to stick around. Some real interesting stuff at the end. There we go. See you later. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, good night. All right, we have no delegations. Adoption of minutes. I've got a recommended motion that the regular council meeting minutes for January 2022, 2025 be approved as circulated. Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Reagan, seconded by Councillor Westman. All in favor? That's carried. Business arising from the minutes. None.
No.
Nothing new. Correspondence 10.1. I believe our CAO is going to speak to that. Or the correspondence that was pulled.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. The item of correspondence concerns the recent Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund, or HUSIF as we called it. And this was the second round, so it's HUSIF number 2. We received a letter dated January 27th from Trevor Fleck. He's the Director, Program Policy and Development and Infrastructure Programs. And we were not successful on our application. So this sets us back. We are no further ahead on funding for that plant. So it's very unfortunate. I really thought we had a good shot at this. We after the first round, we had a meeting with Mr. Fleck and his staff to find out what, if anything, we didn't do to get approval on the first round. And we took that information and beefed up our second application here. But we do have another meeting coming up with Mr. Fleck again on Friday, because I do want to hear from him again. Did we do anything wrong with this one or not? And if we didn't, it may simply be a matter of, they had X million dollars to give out and it was way oversubscribed. I do know that. But I do want to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Because there is quite possibly just nothing more we could do to make our application more attractive. It may just be that, there's lots of applicants and most of them are worthy. There's not, I don't think there's any argument there, but if there is anything, we are going to try and find that out. So again, we do have an online meeting with Mr. Fleck and his staff on Friday to get more information.
All right, thank you. Did anyone have anything further to say on that? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So I see that there's a deadline for a new stream on February 12th. And I'm just wondering how the current election is going to affect that. If that deadline is going to get pushed so we can maybe fine tune our application a little better, or is that February 12th deadline sort of set in stone?
So through the Deputy Mayor to Councillor Regan, to answer that question, I will ask that question on Friday, but I suspect his answer will be during the election period, which is from now until February 27th. And then depending on what happens at the election, everything is just frozen. So it's just, everybody's at a standstill. So I suspect that will be his answer, but that will be one of the questions I ask him on Friday.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Thanks, Ron.
nothing further then? No. I echo our CAO's comments on just very disappointing and it's just hard to believe that we get the investment we get from that government on the new school, which you would hope if we got the investment in the school because of our future growth and potential, and then to not get growth on our, sewer plant is mind numbing. But anyways, that's all I got to say on that. Correspondence, any other further correspondence that anyone want to speak to? Okay, I've got go ahead. See you.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, I believe it's number 8. The OGRA Good Roads Conference is coming up. And again, we can request delegations. So I would think that we'd want to have another meeting with the Ministry of Infrastructure to try again. We need to keep hammering away at them of our need and why they should give it to us. So that is the obvious one. If anybody has any other suggestions of any other ministries that we can have, and again, these are 15-minute meetings, so it's got to be very compact, but any other suggestions, happy to hear them.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I was just going to ask, I'm just wondering if there was any others. Just, it's interesting that we've been hammering away at this one for so long and it just years, right? Literally, and nothing's happened. I just wonder if there's any other avenue. So I guess again, I don't have a suggestion for that, but I'll put my mind to it for sure. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I've got that was everything. Recommend a motion that items 10.1 through 10.2 correspondence be received for information purposes. Moved by Councillor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Westman. All in favor? That's carried. Committee reports. There's nothing from Blue Water, nothing from CDC, or is there?
Just like to defer to next meeting.
Oh,
Okay.
Yep,
That would, please.
perfect. Lake Huron, there is nothing. A fire board, there was 2 sets of minutes from September 30th and January 23rd. I don't know if anyone had any questions of those board minutes. They do. Ron's here. Don't see any. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through you. I wanted to ask about the ladder truck agreement with South Huron and if we'll be getting some more information for council about that in the future.
So through the Deputy Mayor to Councillor Hodgins, yes. So that agreement is between the Township of Lucan Biddulph and the Municipality of South Huron. So it's been recommended by the Lucan Biddulph Fire Area Board that we bring it forward. And that I believe I'm looking at my treasurer. I believe it's in their hands at South Huron. Are they going to sign it first? And then they're going to bring it back. Sorry.
Just to add to that, though, the Council of South Huron, they adopted it last night, so that will come to the next meeting for this council to adopt.
So it will be brought forward at the February 18th meeting.
Further? No, thank you.
ABCA or Upper Thames?
Nothing to report at this time from ABCA.
Okay, thank you. And Parks and Rec, I don't think.
We have our meeting, next meeting is February 12th and I'll report after that.
Okay. Did it get changed to the 13th or am I mistaken? Or is it?
It was the 13th and it got changed to the 12th, sir.
Oh, okay, so it is the 12th. I think I can actually make that. I had that reversed to my calendar. Okay, thank you. That's the 12th. All right, staff reports. CAO 12.1, Ron.
Actually, Mr.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor, the treasurer is going to take that one as she is the new secretary treasurer for the Lucan Biddulph Fire Area Board.
Okay.
So this report is just to get council to appoint the acting officers for the Lucan Biddulph Fire Area. And then there's a bylaw following at the end of the meeting to be adopted. So the reason that there's a change in officers is that the current deputy chief is stepping down, is moving away from the area. So a new deputy chief had to be determined. The names and discussion was had at the fire area board meeting on January 23rd. And the board agreed with the fire chief's recommendations and to bring the names forward to council for adoption. And the names are listed there. And again, these are just acting basis, like they're not permanent until decisions from the fire master service plan fire service master plan are made. So the names brought forward have all the required certifications and qualifications for these roles. So I felt comfortable recommending these folks. So
Great, thank you. I've got a recommended motion. I'll read. That the report number CAO-02-2025 be received for information and that council appoint the following officers for the Lucan Biddulph fire area on the acting basis: Deputy Chief Adam Froats, Training Officer Ryan Herbert, Captain David Allen. And that the revised appointment persons, fire departments bylaw be adopted. Mover and seconder, moved by Councillor Westman, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We have 12.1B CAO activity report. Ron, if you want to if you want to highlight any of it, you don't need to go through all of it, but if you want to highlight anything, and then if council has questions, they can ask you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. The one I would like to highlight is the what they call the half two agreement, which is the Housing Accelerator Fund round two. That program, we were successful in getting money. We got $2,625,000 in change. And that obviously that's great news. There are obviously some things we now have to do as a result of that. And the good news with regards to that is that the county planning office is really going to take the lead on it. We've got four municipalities, or four lower tier municipalities in the county of Middlesex that had very similar applications approved. So we're trying to group everybody together to retain a joint consultant that can do some of these planning and zoning bylaw changes that need to be done in order to receive some of this money. I'm just looking at the treasurer here, but did we already get our first payment? She's nodding her head, yes. So we already had our first payment. So the payment, that 2.625 million is split over 4 years. So we've got our first payment already. It's a pretty aggressive schedule to do those changes. We're hoping, obviously this is a federal level of funding. We all know what's happening at the federal level of government. If there is a change in government at some point in time, there is a big question mark with regards to the future and how this program will roll out. Will it remain in place? If there's a new government at the federal level, will they honor this? Will they change it? Will they stop it? So there's a number of questions, but at this point, all we can do is what's in front of us, or deal with what's in front of us. So we are going to try and get this done as quickly as we can. The sooner we get it done, the sooner we can claim that we are finished and we can claim all our money. So hopefully we can get on this pretty quick. So that's really all I have to say about that. The Houston round two, we talked about that. The Quadro Tower lease is pretty straightforward. What we feared would happen did happen. The federal government did not renew their frequency license, I guess you could say. So that is coming to an end the end of March. All the services, all the internet services that all our various facilities enjoyed as part of that agreement, those will not change until June. So we're going to have some discussions, because there's obviously our costs are going to go up in certain areas. There's buildings like the Scout Guide Hall that do receive, I wouldn't say free service, because it is part of that agreement now. But as of June, if they want to continue that service, there is going to be a bill to be paid there. So there's going to have to be some discussion between now and then as to how that moves forward. The first question is, do they need it? If they need it, what type do they need? What level do they need? And who's going to pay for that, and how we do that? So there'll be a further information coming forward on that. So, and then the last thing on the second page there, the Middlesex London Paramedic Service Agreement, they have triggered their automatic renewal clause for a further 2 years, so that's great news as well. It's always a benefit to our community to have the ambulance station right in our community, so that's all I had.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ron. Was there any questions, further questions? Go ahead. Yep.
So, Mr. Deputy Mayor, if I may, so just with the use of round 3, so I'm just wondering, is there other municipalities in Middlesex County that have also been turned down? Like if there's other townships, and the reason I'm asking that is I'm just wondering if there's an idea that maybe we go at this as a delegation, or we go at this en masse, like with everybody go and say, like, I mean, we've got 5 or 6, I know, just hypothetically, 5 or 6 small communities saying, this is what we need, and we need it. Everybody knows we need this, and there's other municipalities that need it as well. But we go in en masse and say, hey, okay, like this is a problem that we're having in Middlesex County or whatever. Maybe that just a little more awareness, maybe that sends a bigger message. I don't know. I'm feeling I'm getting a little frustrated, and I've echoed that before, but with this, because we're doing everything we can, and we've got growth, as the deputy mayor said, and we're doing everything we possibly can. And so I'm just thinking maybe this is something we could try. I don't know if it's worth it or not. It's just a thought.
So through the deputy mayor to Councillor Regan, I haven't heard of any other lower tiers that have got money out of the second round of HUSIF. They're out there. I just don't know who they are. But again, I'm not aware of any other lower tier within the county of Middlesex that did get HUSIF round 2 money. Like I said earlier, there was, I think, 3 other municipalities in the county that got half Housing Accelerator Fund round 2 money. That's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. So again, if we can replicate that with HUSIF, with the next round 3 of HUSIF, that's fine. But I suspect everything's going to be on hold for a bit of time. So we'll see what happens.
I'm just hoping 3rd time's the charm. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Okay. I do have a motion. Was there anything else, Councillor Hodgins?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, through you. With respect to the half two, great news that we were awarded the 2.6 million. And thanks to staff and the county staff that supported that, and the planning staff. Is that funding, does it have to be used on something in particular, or is it just like a revenue coming in that we can use to support our operations generally? Do we know those details yet of the strings attached to that?
So through the deputy mayor to Councillor Hodgins, there's kind of 2 parts to that. There's things that we applied for that we said we would do, and that's, look at intensification, look at 3rd units of right now. You have another, I think 2 units, or it's 3 units, and we're looking for 4. They're looking for intensification things. So those are the types of things that we're looking at in the or that we put in the application that we would look at to move forward. So this money is calculated based on what was our normal growth, and if we made these changes to our zoning bylaw, for example, to allow more intensification, what is the expectation? How many more units could you get? So there's a math calculation that they use to come up with that number, and that's how we ended up with the 2.65. So what we're trying to do is I guess be more efficient in how we do those changes, or look at those changes to the zoning bylaw, because the county is saying that they don't have the time to do all that needs to be done there. So they've already got the applications out there for consultants to look at it. So we're trying to group everybody together to get a better price. And then hopefully what we don't spend on consultants going through all these things, whatever money we have left over is ours to use. Assumedly, we'd put it towards our sewage treatment plant expansion, but I don't, it depends on a lot of things, whether we get those the other 3 payments of those 4 quarterly payments. And there's lots of conversations out there as to whether that's gonna happen and carry on if there's a change in government at the federal level. But like I said, we're proceeding forward as if we have to deal with what's in front of us, and until something changes, we keep moving forward.
Okay, thanks for that. But I got that, we have received a portion of that money now, and we can use it for we have to do X, Y, and Z, but we have that money to use. And I think you may have mentioned it in earlier, but we will be getting a report back to council from staff from planning on more details on that and what our obligations are.
Absolutely, because those changes can only be made with council approval. So those changes that were going to be brought forward will be brought forward from the planning department, and they'll be brought before council for formal approval.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything further for our CIO's report? Seeing none, I got a recommend a motion, the report, number CAO -03 -2025 be received for information by Councillor Hodgson, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And I got 12.1C, clerk's annual update, So everyone,
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the annual update is just a review of things that happened in the clerk's department in 2024, including records management, planning, licensing, vital statistics, commissioner of oath signatures, parking enforcement, and animal control. I won't review everything. It's all there in the report. If anyone has any questions, I can try and answer.
yeah, I didn't have any myself, but seeing none, I've got a recommend motion that report number CL -02 -2025 be received for information. Moved by Councillor Reagan, seconded by Councillor Westman. All in favor? That's carried. Nothing for building and bylaw. Finance, we have Catherine here. If Catherine would like to,
I just
Yes.
have one verbal thing I'd like to say.
sure.
Just want to make note that the interim tax billings are being generated this week and should be out by, have to be out by Friday or on Friday, and the first payment's due February 28th.
Okay, any questions of Catherine? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Public Works, we have a activity report. Again, Jeff, you want to highlight anything, feel free, and then if I'll ask council if they have any questions.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The only one I would really just kind of highlight for council is the in the wastewater section. For the last 2 years, we have applied for sludge haul into the lagoons because our storage is not, we don't have enough storage at the plant to go the half year. This year, the MECP have turned us down. And they are requiring us to take it to a licensed site that can take our sludge. So we've arranged to take it to London. Unfortunately, the costs, as you see there, goes from $4,000 to $50,000 for that sludge hauling. Unfortunately, there's really at this point not much we can do about that. If we don't get the approval, we have to follow the other guidelines. So I just want to make sure council is aware of that. This will come up further when we start talking about the expansion in the wastewater treatment plant and some of the costs that we're incurring as we sit with the plant. So other than that, everything else is fairly straightforward. There might be a couple of questions on that. I do have one verbal kind of update for council, or one verbal. I did have a call, and it's not I've had a couple of calls asking for snow removal around the school area at the curbs to provide more parking for when the cars pull over. That is a service that we haven't done in the past. So I'm inclined not to do it, but it certainly would be something that we could look at. I'm going to bring back a report in the fall under winter maintenance planning. So for council then can approve all our winter activities and what we do. But I bring that forward to council. I said I would bring it forward at council. But at this point, the streets are being followed around the school just as they are through the rest of the town. And at this point, I don't see the need to clear that snow out. I think people just have to do have to be beware that the temporary parking that takes place there is a little bit more congested when there's snowbanks.
Okay, thank you. And then did you have a further update on something, or no, that was everything? That's everything. Okay, I'll reach out to council here to see if there's any questions of you, Jeff. Go ahead, Councilor Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. If I may, the wastewater, the difference in cost, I'm just wondering, they turned the grant down. Is there a reason for that? If they've, so for the last 2 years, they've done it. This year, they said no. And I'm just wondering if there is a specific reason they gave us, or? Not
They
that it's
didn't, yeah, through the deputy mayor, they didn't give us any details on that. They just turned the request down. That we wouldn't be allowed to use the lagoons to store the sludge.
All right, okay, thank you.
Councilor Hodgins.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through you, just kind of further to that sludge, just maybe get some more context. Is it something like did something sort of unexpected happen, or like normally would we clear that sludge all out so that there is capacity there for it to accumulate and we weren't able to do that, or we just have been taking it to the lagoon previously and that's been allowable and now suddenly it's not allowable? Just a bit more clarity maybe around that.
Yeah, so the plant, when it was re-rated in 2012, the storage was highlighted as a need. And as we approach over the 80% and we keep climbing, the sludge storage is not available at the plant to what we should have there. And so the last number of years, we've had to find other places through the winter time because we can't go 6 months. During the summer, it's not a big deal. We can find farmers' fields through the summer. So not only do we have gone from 2 times a year, we've probably gone to four times a year. So the real reason here is we can't find open fields. Bartels, who is our contractor for sludge hauling, they have contracts, around Ontario. During the winter time, that's just not possible. So at this point, we can't go the whole winter season without finding some sort of storage or outlet for our sludge. So at this point, we didn't think it would be a big deal because we've pointed out to the ministry that if we do go to expand, we're going to use the sludge lagoons as our sludge storage. So, we've put it in play for the expansion. And we've informed them that we're still in the design stage and we're moving forward with the expansion. We did not see this being an issue. But then when the ministry came back and denied us, it was a bit of a surprise to us.
Thanks for that, Jeff.
Ron was just going to maybe make a suggestion.
So if I may, through the deputy mayor, quite possibly this is a situation where council could authorize Jeff and myself to approach the ministry to request a meeting to find out more details, like why all of a sudden now are they not allowing us to do this? I think that we have nothing to lose by asking, and I think a motion of council would help a little bit. That would give us a little more authority to approach. Because like you said, we don't know exactly why they've now refused us. It just makes no sense. And the costs, you can see the costs in Jeff's report. We're jumping from a bill of $4,000 a year because they've been able to truck it basically across the road and dump it into the lagoons. And now we have to truck it a lot further. So, there's a lot of money involved here. And I think that would be a good move forward. I don't know if Jeff.
Go ahead, Jeff, you had a comment?
Yeah, just one of the items, because we did immediately go back to the representative that denied or turned down this request. And one of the reasons, the primary reason was the type of winter we're in, that the lagoon is frozen. And they had concerns about trying to break the ice and getting the sludge to actually settle down into the lagoon, because you obviously can't just dump it into a snow frozen lagoon. So there was concern from the ministry that we couldn't conduct the operation as we've had in the past into open water. I think we should still expand on that because we weren't given the opportunity to try and come back with another plan on how to open up the lagoons. That was the reason why they told us they basically turned us down.
Well, you know what, if you feel a notice, a motion from council directing and feel that would assist and maybe won't hurt to the, yeah. Why don't we do that and then, so do we, you got something there? Okay, that council direct staff to contact the ministry to discuss
An explanation.
an explanation for denying sludge storage at the lagoons. Mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Westman, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. Then you and Ron can. All right, thank you. Thanks, Tina. Was there anything further? No. Then Jeff, did you have anything? That was everything. Yep, everyone's good. Okay, I just got yeah, I got flipped around here. Got to recommend a motion that report PW-01-2025 be received for information. Moved by Councillor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Parks and Recreation. Darcy, have you discussed 12.6A?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. My report is on the fitness center agreement. It's all listed there. I did highlight some of the changes that we went for from last year. As I noted in my report, the procurement bylaw does allow for Ron to sign it, but I wanted to bring it to council just because there was a few changes just to go over. And I think to sum it up, it has been a successful relationship. We've had 1 year, and I think it's a good news story. Having the gym at the community center is definitely a great thing. And I think we got a good partnership. We just had to fine tune it a little bit and get it a little bit better for everybody. So we are looking to extend the agreement.
That's good news. Any questions on that? Councillor Hodgins.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Excuse me. All right, through you. Yeah, I agree that the fitness center is it's a great resource to have there, a great service to provide. I just wanted to clarify one thing and maybe ask a question. Through this revised agreement being just a rental agreement, there's no profit sharing. We're just taking in the monthly rent for the use of the space.
That is correct.
Okay, great. And is there anything to, I think in maybe your activity report, it notes like, membership is increasing. It's getting used more, which is great news. Is there anything in there where, if the membership increases, will the operator look at like aligning the prices with like maybe bringing the prices down if there's more people, or is the price setting, is that strictly up to the operator of the facility?
You, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Hodgins. The answer for that would be that it is up to the operator right now. We didn't really put anything in the agreement in regards to us advising him on setting prices. It is set up more as a rental agreement, so he is the fitness center manager. So we did leave prices up to his purview at this time.
Okay, thanks for that. I just know when we were looking at this RFP originally, we were looking for something that was affordable and accessible for people. So I hope that if the revenues are increasing for the operator, then maybe they can look for opportunities to make it more accessible for some people. Thank you.
Okay, sounds fair. Any other further questions on that?
If I may, just further to that, I have heard just different stories about the price, and I understand that it's a rental, but I'm just wondering if it's a service that we're providing the community. To your point is, do we have this reviewed at some point? We are providing a service, it's out of the community center. Is it outside of the price range of people to enjoy it? I don't know if there's different levels of membership. I'm just wondering if is there a way of making sure that it's more accessible to people? I don't know if we have that, I mean, do we actually have that right to do that since it's out of our building?
But Darcy,
Yeah, to the deputy mayor, to Councilor Regan. I would say we can definitely work with the manager. I don't think it would be out of line. One of the things we've done is do it on a 1-year agreement with the possibility to extend, so we can look at it after a year and look at whether we want to renew. But I can say myself, I haven't heard of the price issues. I've only heard positive things. So that's one thing I haven't really jumped into. But yeah, we can definitely work with the manager as much as we can. I mean, he is renting the facility and running his fitness center. But we are on a short-term agreement as well. So
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
okay. Anything further on that? I do have a recommended motion there that the report number PR -01 2025 be received for information. Passed by Councillor Hodgson, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. We have an activity report also from Parks from Darcy. Again, if you want to highlight a few things, feel free, and then I'll ask council if they have any questions.
for sure. So in my activity report, we just looked at the capital projects, a few of the ones that we've got dug into already in January, as well as facility usage. And I would again say, so far it's a good news story for facility usage. It's used every day and very, very busy. So I would applaud my staff and all the work they do to program it and keep it clean, and it's all been going well. So I'll gladly take any questions.
Thank you for that. I'll just see if there was anything or straightforward. Okay, I do have a recommended motion. Get flipped around, Tina. There we go. Activity report, that report number PR -02 2025 be received for information. Moved by Councillor Hodgson, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Economic development. Nothing on that. Councillor comments. Go ahead.
If I may, Mr. Deputy Mayor, just very quickly, just for Jeff. Just a couple of residents have asked, just with the recent, just over the last couple of weeks, of course, the snow, and the guy's been doing a great job. The sidewalk plow, I'm just wondering, what's the deal with the, like when they're putting down salt and sand on the sidewalks? That's been an issue, and I've heard a number of concerns about that. And I'm just wondering, what's the process or the procedure for that? Does it happen every time? Is it something that is, and I know there's certain standards that we have to meet. So I'm just wondering, just for, I guess, for my own knowledge and anybody that's listening, just sort of basically what's that process?
Yeah, through the deputy mayor. Anytime that the sidewalks are slippery, the machine does put down salt.
Okay.
If it's doing snow clearing, it can salt at the same time. The rates are set in the machine. Basically, the town is all done the same. You may notice a little bit extra salt on Main Street due to that. We tend to do a second application and a second run on Main Street due to it's the first one at the first of the day, and it's usually a second run at the end of the day. So there might be a little bit more noticeable salt on Main Street, but no, generally the application rates are all the same throughout the town, and it is done at the same time that the machine goes up and down the sidewalk for clearing snow.
No, thank you very much. I don't appreciate, everybody appreciates the work you guys are doing. I just wanted to ask about that because I'd heard a couple of complaints as also. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Hodgins.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Just a comment here with all of the with everything that's been going on with the United States and the trade, the tariffs and the trade war. I've seen some municipalities are looking at some have passed motions, but they're looking at what they may be able to do under their procurement policies to better support buying Canadian, just in light of everything that's happening. So I just think this is something that maybe we should consider, maybe not right here at this meeting, but maybe if it's something that staff could look into and we see what happens over the next couple of weeks in the province and elsewhere in Canada, maybe we can have some more information on that.
Yeah, see how that evolves. Yep, go ahead, Ron. You want to comment on?
Yep, through the deputy mayor to Councillor Hodges. I did receive an email yesterday morning from one of the CAOs. They want this topic to be put on the next agenda because they are looking at things that they can do to make sure that we buy local. I like to think we already have done that in the past, but you know, there's always more that we can do. And I think by number one, raising awareness is the first thing. Second thing is to talk about what policies we can, should we, how do we do that? So, you know, there's lots of questions around it. So, you know, I don't know that I've answered your question, but it is on our radar and we are looking at it from the CAO standpoint.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor comments? See, now I've got a few things I just actually want to bring up. One I'd like to add, Business Rising is maybe have our senior staff talk about the hub property. I'd like that to go on Business Rising. If that's going to be, again, a report back on whether it's going to be put to use or tore down or parking lot or what the hub's going to look like. But we certainly, I think, should have that on Business Rising in a discussion. Just so staff's, you know, certainly I'm of the opinion, I do, if it's going to be used, I will be concerned on cost recovery on that project, knowing that one day that's going to be, you know, leveled. So any expenses going in, I'd want to make sure we're getting it back from our ratepayers, knowing that whether it be 5 to 10 years, but it definitely, if there's suggestion by staff to keep it up and use it, I certainly would want to know operating costs. And again, cost recovery would be important to me on that project if it's not going to be a parking lot. So we put that on Business Rising. The other thing is noticing that this will be for Lisa. If she could maybe, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I'm starting to notice more campaign signs out. And it appears like some of them are just stuck in the snowbanks. And it concerns me from a standpoint of public works and cleaning the sidewalks and snow plows and stuff. And I think if Lisa could reach out to all the campaign managers of every party running, certainly some of the stuff I'm seeing now with some melts and some future snow, if that gets caught up in our equipment or gets blown through a window, those they are sharp. The metal push in H-frames, and I think they need to be reminded that it's a concern that it appears they're not being fastened to the ground for all the campaigns. I don't care who it is, and that I hope, you know, we can let them know they'd be responsible for any damage to our equipment or people's properties. I think we should certainly those even would concern me being out on the roadway and puncturing tires, but just haven't seen an election while I've been on council in this time of year, and it's some of these signs they're just seem to be putting in snowbanks. So I don't know, Lisa, if you could do that.
For sure, like we can, a staff kind of work something up together between the CAO and Public Works and
Yep, just
figure out some messaging for that.
to
sure.
each campaign manager or whoever you would typically
Yep.
send to. No, very good. The other thing is the and I don't know who could just reach out to them. I got approached by a senior when the TD Bank closed. They moved the debit or the ATM to Clark's Variety Store. They just got notified that February 28th it's going to be taken down. I think because of construction probably, or because of future, I have no idea, because of future changes there. So I guess I'm just asking if staff could reach out to a contact that they've had in the past, and if there's any suggestions of other properties or whether our arena could host that, and is that a temporary till that gets rebuilt, that corner? But the people in our community that use TD, I believe, you know, there's quite a bit of usage of that ATM at that store. So again, if at least, again, if they, whatever their message is, I mean, that's what we need to deliver. But you know, if you could find that out.
Yep.
Thank you. And then the last thing, going back to Councillor Reagan's comments, and I agree with him, we're all getting very frustrated with the sewer plant expansion funding and being denied. So I would like to put on Business Horizon. I did talk to Steve Pensno at Roma about coming out to our municipality and meeting with the developers. I mean, he met with our mayor and our CAO last time. Took I know you guys went to the sewer plant, but I'd like to involve the developers with whoever the future MPP is. I would like to get the developers and discuss with whoever the new MPP is about and with the developers and some council and our staff to talk about, again, the costs that they have to pass along to. And affordability is a big thing, and that our development charges are 30, what, Ron, you can correct me, 33,000 now, where with some funding, it'd be down to 16,000. And our developers can explain to the new MPP or the current MPP, the cost, benefit if we could get some funding. Our community is growing. We're in high demand, great location. I just like to try a different approach, and I'd like to have that on Business Horizon. If there is a couple ifs there, obviously, if that funding stays after the election and we do submit for the funding, I would like soon after that, whoever the MPP is, to set up a meeting with some developers and ourselves. So that could go on Business Horizon. That'd be great. And that's it. That's all I got. Nothing too bad. There you go. Changes to budget? Nothing. No motions and accounts, bylaws. Okay. I have got a recommended motion for 17.1. I recommend a motion that if no one cares to speak to bylaw 07-2025 on its first and second reading, that it be considered to have been a first time and passed and read a second time and passed. Moved by Councillor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Westman. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And then 17.2 and 17.3, I've got a recommended motion that if no one cares to speak to bylaws 08-2025 through 09-2025 inclusive on their first, second, and third reading, that they be considered to have been read a first time and passed, and read a second time and passed, and read a third time and passed. Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Westman, seconded by Councillor Reagan. All in favor? That's carried. And adjournment, recommended motion that resolved that the council meeting be adjourned at 6:50. Moved by Councillor Reagan. Oh.
6:52.
Oh, yeah. I had 6:50 before the meeting started. So, Councillor Hodgins. Passed by Councillor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Reagan.